Welcome to today's episode of the Best of Raleigh. I am so excited, and you are in for a treat with today's guest. We have Liz Brignac, who is the editor-in-chief for Midtown Magazine and 5 West Magazine. And if you are here in Raleigh, you've definitely picked one of these up. You've looked at them. They are bound and determined to help people experience all that Raleigh has to offer and its suburbs. So we're going to have a great conversation about her new position as the editor of Midtown and 5 West Magazine. So Liz, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I feel like the Best of Raleigh podcast and what you all are doing at Midtown and 5 West really parallels each other because
they definitely do.
We both really love featuring the people and the places that make Raleigh so special.
Definitely. We definitely do.
So you're a brand new editor here at the magazine, but you've got a long history with Midtown and 5 West. So tell us a little bit about how this came to be.
I started writing for Midtown, I don't even know what year, maybe 2015. I started writing for Carolina Parent back when my son was in preschool. I was ready to be a freelance writer, and so he would go to preschool for like 2 hours. And during that 2 hours, I would write frantically in a coffee shop near there, and then I'd run back, pick him up. And my first regular gig was at Carolina Parent with Beth Shug, who was the editor at Midtown. Eventually, she moved from Carolina. Carolina Parent unfortunately closed, and she moved over to Midtown, and I had already written some for Midtown, but I started writing more regularly for her because she was the most amazing editor.
Hugs to Beth. We love you, girl.
I struggle to fill your shoes. You are very, very good. Everything, a lot of what I learned about being because I've worked with a lot of editors over the years, and I've edited work myself, and she really taught me a lot about how to interact with freelancers in a very respectful way. So.
Well, I appreciate that because I have a long relationship with Beth too, and I think she's a wonderful person. I'm so glad that you got to learn from her. And I was a loyal reader of Carolina Parent. You know, one of the things that I love about living here in Raleigh is I feel like we have so many publications that really, for whatever phase of life that you're in, they really help you know the who's who and the what's what, and you're not, you know, on a website looking for things that you just don't know who wrote them, or, you know, you really just have to test it out. But the magazines really help us a lot. So, so you were writing for Midtown Magazine. What is your background in?
Well, mostly it's been writing. I've literature and writing. I spent years at UNC Chapel Hill in a graduate program for English literature.
Go Heels.
Go Heels. And then I left academia, and when my kids were young, and I decided that I really liked writing more for a general audience than an academic audience. And I enjoy taking a lot of what's going on and working with people who are interested in it. That's what kind of gets me going. Yeah. And there's so many. I also like learning about a lot of things. Yeah. And so every time I write an article, I learn a lot about something that's going on, particularly locally. But, you know, I also wrote for the Episcopal Church. I wrote for Church Next, which is this small Episcopal church-based education group, and I did a lot of classes for them. I learned a lot about all kinds of things there. So I came to it through a sort of love of learning about a lot of things and a love of writing to a general audience about a lot of different topics.
Yeah, I love, I think it's so great to see someone's trajectory, right? Because you kind of find your way in life, especially with women, because we are at home helping to raise our children and that piece of it. And I love it when you can combine your lifestyle with what your income producing activity is. So your lifestyle of being a parent, you're writing about parenting, now your kids are getting a little older, and now you're writing about general Raleigh, and now editing the magazine. So were you so excited to get this position?
I am. We're at a really exciting point with both of these magazines, and I really enjoy living in this area. We kind of moved here more out of convenience, really, because I was in Chapel Hill at that program. It was a really good program, and my husband was at UNC Law, and he found a clerkship here with a judge. And so, but writing locally will make you really aware of what it's like, what's going on in an area. This is one of the more exciting areas in the country to live in right now because we have so much going on. We've got the technology side of things. We've got our restaurant culture has changed radically and is growing so much. There's theater, our culture is burgeoning right now, and there's just so much going on. It's really an exciting time to be here.
You are so right. It is such an exciting time to be in Raleigh, and you've been here since 2004 in Cary. So we've been able to see the city like blossom.
Yes.
And especially and I've been here, I've been here since 2003. And one of the things that I love is like seeing that growth and development of this city that I came to begrudgingly from Charlotte. I did not want to move to Raleigh. I moved to Holly Springs. But it's been a great place to raise my children, and we are in exciting times because I feel like the last 10 years have really brought the city to life. Do you feel that way?
I definitely do. It was a culture shock for me. I was moving here from New Orleans, which if you want a culture shock, move from New Orleans, Louisiana to Cary, North Carolina. They are very different culturally. But I have fallen very much in love with North Carolina, and I really have enjoyed, there's so much green space. There are so many resources. We are very out and about sorts of people, so we could take the kids to the Marbles Museum. We could take the kids, more square. They're a little old for some of the younger kids stuff now, but there are so many places to take them. We take them to do gardens every spring, and we have the annual cherry blossom pictures that I think they're getting a little sick of, but I never get tired of them.
I love those.
So just the Eno River, we always go to the state park up there to hike. So we have really enjoyed raising family here.
Raleigh's all about lifestyle, and I try to explain that because I feel like, with me at Compass, I'm traveling around the country talking to other agents, talking to people in other markets, major metropolitan markets like New York, San Francisco, LA, Austin, Texas, which I think is a parallel city to Raleigh, but a little bit ahead of us, Nashville, Tennessee. And until about 5 years ago, most of them didn't even realize that Raleigh was on the map, right? So, ingraining them in our culture and helping them understand why we're one of the best cities to live in has been really cool. Midtown Magazine and 5 West do an incredible job of doing that. So now that you've taken over as editor and gone from freelancing, what are you super excited about?
Well, so many things. We've got a lot of really amazing plans for these magazines.
Tell us.
Oh, Midtown, we have, so we've had a lot of sort of rotating department pieces toward the back. Those are like the regular pieces that come up. We have Chef's Table, and we have Giving Back, and we're going to have 4 now that we're going to have every time. And I'm really excited about particularly the performing arts side of it. We're going to be there was a need, I think, for people to see, there's so many different theater programs and dance programs around here doing so many interesting things. So we're going to profile different performing arts producers, theaters, companies in one series of articles. And we're going to have a list of all the different shows that are being produced during the run of that particular magazine. And then we're going to have a parallel piece on music. Music venues, bands, local music, all kinds of different, everything from the symphony to local country singers to, maybe even like the best bands you could get to play at your wedding. I mean, there's going to be a lot of different aspects of those, and we're going to sort of have those facing each other.
That's great.
And that's the thing I'm most excited with Midtown. With 5 West, we're actually revamping 5 West very much. About a year ago, we changed from being Cary Living to being 5 West Magazine.
Which made it a little more inclusive for those of us in Holly Springs and Fuquay, and it made us feel like we were all a part of this magazine.
Well, then you're really going to like what we're doing, because I feel like having it sort of, we've been modeling a lot on Midtown Magazine, which is about one city. But 5 West is about 5 cities. So we're going to have the usual features at the beginning, but then we're going to have a section on each town. And we're going to talk about each of the 5 towns, Cary, Apex, Holly Springs, Fuquay, Varina, and Morrisville, that are the 5 cities of 5 West. And we're going to have writers who are based in these cities talking about stuff very important to each of these cities. Like, for example, Cary's one of the cities. Ashworth Drugs recently closed its doors in Cary, which was heartbreaking for those of us who brought our children. My kids were, we would go from the library to there, you know. So that was very, very important in Cary. People in Fuquay would be interested, but maybe less so. So there would be maybe an article focused for Cary people on Ashworth, if we were doing this at that time. Things like that. And we're going to have an article and sort of small snippets of information that are useful to people in those towns. And then we're also going to have department pieces toward the end that are geared toward what's going on in Western Wake specifically. So we're going to have theater music coverage for Western Wake, which is going to be much more kind of, Fuquay has the New Arts Center and Cary Players, and we have a lot of really great community theater, and we're going to be focusing on that. We're going to be focusing on visual artists because that area has incredible visual artists.
It really does, and it's often not featured.
And so Kaleidoscope, which is a section we have at the back, is going to expand, and we're going to have regular pieces on that. And then we're, of course, going to have some features at the beginning, but that's how we're going to be changing Fi West. We're also going to be expanding our digital offerings. So our Chef's Table writers will also be producing digital articles, and we're hoping for even some video content. Like, for example, like let's say we profile a restaurant in Chef's Table. If there's a mixologist there and we can pair a really good cocktail with it, we might get a digital article about the cocktail. And then if we could get maybe a video of the chef preparing the food or the mixologist mixing the cocktail, we'd put that up with it. And we're kind of trying to bring supportive content into the digital world that brings attention to the print magazine, and then the print magazine enhances the digital content, and they're all working together.
I think that's so important, and I think people digest information differently, right? And if I read something in the magazine that I'm really into, I love to go to the digital space of it and see if there's other things there. So I think that's a huge important piece, and it's great for, really helping people get to know the people and the places that make Raleigh so special. I love that you're doing so much with the artists. So as the magazine goes forward, I just read a great article. Both magazines just came out literally in my mailbox, and it's because we're in real estate here at the Coley Group. You featured an article about Paragon Builders and their universal design, which if you haven't heard of universal design is building a home for you to live in forever. And it's not the old ADA classification of it. It is very simple things that make a home more livable for your entire life, but also have design and style. And I loved that article. That was one that you really liked as well, right?
I loved that article. I actually didn't, my favorite thing about this job is that I get to learn so much. I didn't know very much about universal design until I read that. I love the hospitality element of it.
Yeah.
You can welcome anyone into your home because, and it's not in this kind of stark, clinical, there's a ramp for you kind of way.
No.
It's this incredible patio with a gently sloping pathway that anybody can enjoy. The idea is that as many people as possible can enjoy this home. You can have a wider door than usual for mobility devices. And it's not to accommodate people in wheelchairs. It's to accommodate as many people as possible. And there's, the door looks great. If you look at it, it's this beautiful wooden entrance.
It was so interesting. And that's one of the things about both magazines that I love so much is there is such a diverse offering. They're talking about every single aspect of what it's like to live in Raleigh, which is what we're doing on this show as well. And that's why it parallels so much. And so for those of you who are out there thinking about real estate, this show is sponsored by the Coley Group. We are the #1 Compass team in the Triangle. And we love nothing more than helping introduce you to our city, to the towns, to the neighborhoods, and the houses that make Raleigh such an incredible space to live. So if you're thinking about making a move into this market or within this market somewhere, make us your first phone call. All of our information is going to be below. We would love to help you find your slice of heaven right here in Raleigh. So creating all of the spaces that you have in the magazine, from food, from cocktails, from kids' places, to home. There was another article on reviving warmth that I thought was so cool because Raleigh has so much new construction. We are a new city that is growing and lively, and sometimes new construction doesn't have the warmth that an older home has. That article really brought to life what builders are doing now.
Well, first, the photography in that article.
If you haven't seen it, you have to go check it out. The links are going to be below.
It was so beautiful. Abigail Johnson was the photographer who works for these built for these designers, and because we covered a similar home in 5 West in Jameson Park in Apex, and she was talking. The writer Kristen Shroom talked a lot about how the work from home culture has. We're spending more time in our houses. We also entertain more in our houses. We don't go to the movies as much. I mean, I go to the movies. I love the movies. But a lot of people also will watch TV or whatever at home. And if you're doing that, you're going to be spending more time at home. And people used to kind of want more showcase homes. She was talking about how these sort of beautiful ethereal spaces, but now they want exposed beams and warmth and this sense of
comfort,
personality and tradition. She talks a lot about warmth in the Wake Falls home article, and she talked about personality in the other one. So you want to personalize your space, you want a warm, comforting space, a place where you really feel like you live, but it also is, I mean, if you look at these places, they're beautiful. And it was a very interesting, because I had not really thought about how work from home is changing the way designers approach these homes.
It really is. We're becoming homebodies.
Yes.
Although I love coming to an office, my clients, I see it every day. People are becoming homebodies, and they're putting a lot more time, energy, effort, and attention into the spaces that they're inhabiting. And it's gone from being this pretentious, don't touch the pillows, to throw the pillows all over the house and let's lay all over everything. And it's amazing. And home is really important here in Raleigh, but also the culture of events that are happening in Raleigh. And you're probably one of the foremost experts on events in Raleigh. What are some of your favorite events throughout the year that bring culture to Raleigh?
Wow. Well, I'm an out and about sort of person. So and I live in Cary, so some of the events I really know there's the Lazy Days. The first thing you thought about was the Lazy Days Arts and Crafts Fair, and there's also Artsplosure in Raleigh. I enjoyed the Bluegrass Festival, although I feel like that's changing. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I really liked it. And I'm getting very into the theater scene. This is my baby. I met my husband doing theater.
Got it.
And so I'm very, I went to the announcement of the Raleigh Little Theater's upcoming season, and I got season tickets for that, and they were very affordable, actually. I was very excited about that. So, and all these little grassroots theaters, I've been enjoying watching what they're doing. So theater seasons, and my husband loves the symphonies, so I go with him to the symphony. I'm learning a lot about it. Carolina Ballet I enjoy. So I don't know if that answers your question, because it's pretty broad.
It does. And I think the next piece to that is if there's people out there who are saying, why Raleigh? Why Midtown? What is so special about this area? What would you say to that?
I would say that we have the universities and the technology companies and the influx of young people meeting a sort of older, more Southern culture creates a place that's absolutely unique. You have, on the one hand, people from all over the world. I don't think I ever went on the playground with my kids when they were little and heard the same language being spoken. I love an eclectic atmosphere. I live near Chatham Square in Cary, which has, I think, so many different international foods. I've covered a place in Cary, the Vita Dulce, which is an ice cream store modeled on the owner's grandfather's store in Guadalajara. And then you also have these very sort of traditional places like Big Ed's in near Moore Square. I know they have several locations, so that's the one we used to go to. That are very sort of Southern culture, and they have like farm equipment in front. And there are so many different, it's a very unique cultural mix of old school Southern and new international energy and youth and tradition. I have never lived anywhere like it, and it's very exciting, and that's the thing I really enjoy the most about the work I'm doing right now, because all you have to do is look around and you have article ideas. I mean, there's so much going on. Yeah.
Yeah, so for sure. So what is the most exciting article that you've got coming up? Can you give us a sneak peek of one of your favorites? You don't have to tell us the name of it, but what are you working on that's exciting?
Wow. Well, there are a lot. I really want to do an article. This is my thing again. On they've been doing Cinderella as a holiday piece at the Raleigh Little Theater every holiday season for 40 years, and it's set in Raleigh. And so when I was talking to everyone was they're very excited about this. So we were talking, and I really want to do a piece on stage on that because 40 years of an original play that they've just done over. I mean, it's legacy, but also new and fresh, like we're talking about. So that's one. We're going to do a vintage summer for the July-August issue. We're going to do vintage summer fun in North Carolina, and I'm excited about that. We're going to do North Carolina's best creeks for summer fun, and as an outdoor family that goes to Bobbitt Hole up in the Eno River every year with the kids, we go to the swimming hole. How many people can say they actually brought their kids to the old swimming hole? But we can, and it's beautiful, and it's so much fun. So I'm excited about that. There's a lot of pieces coming up that we're excited.
Well, I'm very excited to read those, especially the vintage summer fun. I can just see myself with a scarf in a pink Cadillac, and I'm super excited about that one.
I
Because,
think it's going to be beautiful.
the thing about Raleigh that I love that you've kind of hit on a little bit is the Southern mixed with this new culture, and what's old has become new again. And that is a beautiful thing to watch. So where can people find the magazines? Where can they pick one up if they want to?
If you want one, Harris Teeter has them, and that's the most reliable place. We have them all over. You go to the website and you say, find our magazine. You can find pickup sites everywhere, but go to your local Harris Teeter, and it's in the bin at the front. Your library will probably also have it too.
And then where can they find you online?
Midtownmag.com, and that has links to our sister publications. I haven't talked about Triangle Family. We were talking about Carolina Parent. Carolina Parent eventually was retired, which we were all sorry about. And Triangle Family, Janice Levine worked with Carolina Parent for years. And so she's brought her parenting journalism expertise and really turned Triangle Family into a parenting magazine for the whole triangle. Wow. Which as a parent, I get very into her magazine.
And then if people want to find you on Instagram,
Midtown Magazine.
Awesome. And we will make sure all of those links are down below. Liz, thank you so much for such an engaging conversation about one of my favorite subjects, Raleigh. And you and I obviously believe that Raleigh is a really incredible and special place to live. And we hope that you got some insight on some of the incredible things that bring our city to life. In the Best of Raleigh, we want this to be your guide to luxury living in the Triangle, your go-to, and we drop a new episode every Friday on YouTube, Spotify, and on Apple. So check us out. If you love what you heard here, give us a follow and you'll be the first to know about all things happening in Raleigh. We would love to see you in the next Best of Raleigh.